something weirder than like going in public and saying, I'm a psychic. I see all things, dear. Oh, my crystal ball. Yes, darling, you will meet the one you love in 3 months, darling. Just bring me a pig's foot. Yeah? Like, there's like, it just gets weird. Whoa, like I'm making money. The moment someone says to you, oh my gosh, you read cards, like how much do you charge, is the moment you charge. Here's the thing about Mystic Rainn. One thing about me is that you're gonna run me my money. Welcome back to this channel, co-creators. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, Mystic Rainn. And today I figured we'd switch it up and we do a bit of a Q&A vid on spiritual businesses for those of you that actually would like to launch your own spiritual business. Before we jump in, for the month of June, I am doing a birthday sale because it's going to be my birthday, Gemini season, on all astrology reports. So all astrology reports are going to be 30% off. So if you want your birth chart, if you want a compatibility report, if you want a relationship report, a solar return report, all those reports are going to be 30% off. In addition, if you would like to get a spiritual coaching session with me or a spiritual hour with me, the links for that is also in the description box below. So a few months ago, thought it would be really interesting to do a spiritual business Q&A, and in my mind, I assumed that the questions that would be asked would be things around like logistics on kind of like how to run your own sort of spiritual small business. And after asking you guys, it completely took a left, and I realized a lot of the questions were more so about like confidence and like how do you get the confidence to like come out reading tarot cards and different things like that? And it completely threw me off. I'm not gonna lie. That is why for some of you guys that maybe have answered that post would have realized that I asked that question like 2 months ago. And I had initially tabled this idea because in my mind, I just thought the video would go a different way, and it didn't go that way. But I have like settled into like the idea and have realized that for me, there has been time there, and so for me, it functions as a business, but I forgot how insecure you can be in the beginning of trying to launch a business, particularly a small business. It's different if you're launching a business with, let's say you have like sunglasses and you want to sell sunglasses. That's different. Everybody wears sunglasses, right? But when it comes to like trying to launch a spiritual business and you're trying to put yourself out there as a psychic or as an intuitive or as a medium or a tarot card reader, it can get a little bit weird. And I had forgot that that was a step that I had went through when I had initially started this whole process. So that's where this video is going to go. For all the people who are still trying to overcome that weirdness, a lot of the questions kind of reflect that. And I thought that we can go through them together. And if you are somebody that is interested in starting your own spiritual business, or you're just kind of curious into, I guess, how it works in general, then this video is for you. So the first question that we have is, love this. How and when did you first get started? Could you please share more about just the process from when you first started your business, how it grew, and where it is now? Any lessons you've learned that you'd like to pass on? I love your videos and your overall energy. Even my hubby enjoys it when I have your vids on. Watching your vids really helped me discover my spiritual psychic gifts, and I would love to be a healer one day. First things first, you are already a healer. You don't turn into a healer. It's just a matter of you actually going out and using the gifts that you have, as opposed to kind of sitting with your gifts by yourself and like kind of hoping to use them one day. But if that is your aspiration, then you are already a healer. There is no turning into a healer. That's not how it works. You already got the gift. So how and when did I first start? So when it comes to like Mystic Rainn, the business as Mystic Rainn was never intended to be a business. So I am Mystic Rainn, and the business part of me evolved with time. I adopted the spiritual name Mystic Rainn when I got really sort of deep and heavy into my spiritual studies, because I felt like my government name didn't resonate with the information that I was learning. It just wasn't on the same frequency. And so I adopted the spiritual name Mystic Rainn. And the idea behind that would be that I would be Rainn, and that mystic was a title, kind of like saying Dr. Smith, that it would be mysticrainn. But something happened. Most people call me Mystic because they think it's the first name and not Rainn, but like whatever. And slowly with time, it evolved into a business because other people evolved it that way. Eventually what happened, people saw me as having a service to offer and they were willing to pay me for it. And with time, it slowly kind of organized itself into a structure that is called a business today. But there was no conscious like part on my end where I was like, one day I would like to have a spiritual business. It just evolved that way one day because people were willing to give me like a couple of bucks for a tarot reading, and it slowly took off from there. And how it grew and where is it now. So in terms of like how it grew organically with time and kind of like my own personal spiritual development. The more I learned, the more I evolved as a person, as a spirit, as a being, the more opportunities kind of were attracted to me, the more people were attracted to me, and just opportunities and things kind of came up along the way. And like I said, the structure of the business evolved organically. There was no real moment where I had to sit down and figure out what it would look like. The times where I did sit down was more so of like, okay, I have this interest. How do I balance my schedule in order to be able to tend to the interest, and less about how do I gain interest. It just kind of happened for me that way. And I will say, when it comes to a lot of people's spiritual businesses, that is the way it works. The more you grow, the more spiritual business grows, the more your spiritual business grows, because it's attached to you, it's energetic. You learn spiritually, the business grows spiritually. You grow spiritually, the business grows spiritually. They're linked together. It's an energetic cord that's there. The more I grow, the more mysticrainn as a business grows. And where is it now? So it's so mysticrainn, when I like sit down and I give her all the energy she deserves to have, is amazing and prosperous and full of a lot of blessings. I would say in terms of like where it is now, it's not where it could be because I never like really sat down and like hammered it in. A lot of the issue with that is because I do have other obligations. Like I do have a full-time job and I have other projects that I participate in, and I have a couple of nonprofits, and I've just got a lot of things going on in a lot of different places, and my energy is spread really thin. Honestly, what I do need is a manager. If I got like a manager, particularly someone to come in and handle the social media part of it, or like handle the influencing part of it, it would be significantly farther along than like what it is now. What you see now is literally organic growth. I don't spend that much time behind a computer when it comes to mysticrainn at all. A few hours a month, really, if that. And but if I actually had time to like sit down and devote to it, it would be well off, because when I do that, she does well. She does well. I just don't have the time. I need help. I need an assistant, and I need a manager just to kind of help, like to come in and like help me with my overall life, and also kind of help me with this new thing. Because one thing that is different in terms of mysticrainn, not only did I not anticipate having the business of mysticrainn, I didn't anticipate having the social media aspects of it as well, which would be called influencing. And I don't really consider myself to be an influencer, but people are now emailing me for affiliate deals and like brand deals, which is really interesting, which is something that I had never anticipated. And if I actually had time to like sit down and like really go through that from a business perspective, mysticrainn would be a lot farther along now than what it is. Farther along in terms of money, farther along in terms of clientele, farther along in terms of YouTube audience. It would just be bigger. I just don't have the time. And honestly, that's on me. And then any lessons that I've learned and that I would like to pass on, I've already said this. Anyone that wants to launch a spiritual business, your business grows as you grow spiritually. So if you have lulls in your spiritual development, if you ever reach a place in your life where you're like, oh, I just feel like I'm in limbo, then you will notice that the business has a tendency to reflect that. It's an energetic link and it's an energetic cord. But organic growth is everything, you know, because eventually what happens, you get repeat customers and repeat clients a lot of the times by referrals, and the longer you're in business, the more of an opportunity there is to get referrals, particularly in this kind of business, right? Like, again, it's not like selling like sunglasses or selling shoes, something that a product that people buy all the time, right? This is a niche area. And so you attract niche customers and niche clients, and sometimes that can take time, especially depending on like the business model. Okay, next question. Yes. Please let us know when you post. I struggle with this. Okay, my question is, how do you find your people, your clients? What about marketing? Are there non-traditional creative ways to search out clients? And thank you. So, people, clients is the same way any business works. It's social media, right? That's the way you have to market these days. Some people do it through Instagram. These days, if you are good at TikTok, that's really a way to go. I don't know how to use TikTok, so I don't do that. If you want to go with like old school Facebook ads, that's great too. But it's really social media or YouTube, just having an audience somewhere. But when it does come to sort of non-creative ways to search out clients, I wish I had more information on what it is that you are trying to do, because the answer would be different. So if you're looking for clients and you're looking for non-traditional ways, I need to know what you're doing. So if you're doing like tarot reading and you want clients that way, a good idea would be to go to like one of those like hipster, like kind of coffee shops. It's hard to do these days because of COVID. But when everything opens back up, right, go to like a hipster type of coffee shop, like a sort of locally owned place where they're trying to attract different kind of customers, usually like a younger audience, a more new agey kind of audience. And you can actually go to them and say, hey, like, I'm a tarot reader. I would really love to read in your shop. How about we work out an arrangement where I give you 20% of like what I make that day or something like that. A lot of readers get a lot of their clients by starting that way, because then they're known in the community. And if they agree to it, then you set up, you get yourself like cute little business cards made from like Vistaprint or something, and then you hand them out. And people that go to those kind of coffee shops are normally interested in the tarot reading. They'll kind of like mosey over to your table just to get an idea of like what you're doing. A lot of people start that kind of way. Alternatively, you can go to like one of those like witchy type of bookstores if you have one in your area, and give them like a proposal like, hey, I'm a reader, I would really like to read here. What is the process that I have to go through in order to do that? A lot of sort of established bookstores in the area, like local bookstores that cater to a metaphysical audience, usually have some sort of interview requirements for psychics and for readers. Usually has to do with how good you are and like your accuracy and whether or not you know what you're talking about. Some of them, they could trial you for a basis. You come for a day or two and they send clients your way for a discount, and then the clients have to rate you. Or sometimes the interview is like you literally interview with maybe the shop owner and some of the people that work there, and then they judge you. A lot of times they have their own sort of requirements, but you can talk it through there. But the other thing is, you could also be talking about maybe like spiritual, I don't know, advising. I don't really know what you mean in terms of clients. If you're going for like more of like a spiritual coach, spiritual advising type of vibe, then that's much harder to do by going that way. You would really, I would say, your best bet is probably social media, unless there are like yoga groups in your area. So if you can find like, if you go to like meetup.com and there's like people that meet for yoga, or you can find like new age hubs or community centers in your area, you can try going to hang out there, become a part of the community. And then as you get to know people, be like, hey, like this is what I do. And like slowly start putting your name out there. But there is no fast way to do it. If you're working with clients, there is no fast way to do it. You get more clients as you establish your reputation in the community. In this kind of niche, people go to people that they know are good. Because like when someone wants to go to a psychic, for example, people always say, well, are they good? Right? No one wants to go to a crappy psychic. So part of it is reputation. That takes a little bit of time to develop. But outside of those, social media, that's the only way to do it. Okay, next question. Do you believe the market is becoming saturated? I want to be a badass author. You will be a badass author. Do you also notice that a lot of other businesses giving out the wrong information to clients? How do you discern between the information? How do you combat clients that already come to you that know everything? So do I think the market is becoming saturated? No, absolutely not. I think everyone has an audience, right? I have an audience. I have people who gravitate towards me, but I also have people that are aggravated by me. There are other people that I can listen to on YouTube, for example, that like are in like the spiritual side of YouTube that I think are phenomenal. And some of them, I can't stand the way their voice sounds. There is a person for everybody. There is a lid for every pot, right? Not everybody has the ability to teach the same lessons because not everybody experienced the same things in life. So there is someone for everybody. And if you want to be like an author, I don't know what you plan on writing, but again, there is an audience for everybody. Now, could your audience overlap with another creator's audience? Absolutely. It doesn't take away from the fact that they're still your audience. People go to you because they genuinely want to know what it is that you have to say, right? And so, and people like variety. People like choices. I don't think that the market is too saturated. Also, you have to consider the fact that as people enter the market, people leave the market. People go through phases where it's not what they want to do anymore, where they've grown out of it, where they've evolved, where they've turned their attention to somewhere else, or they're focused on somewhere else. So it may look like there's a lot of people because the world is very noisy these days, but I don't think that the market is oversaturated. And do you also notice a lot of businesses giving out the wrong information to clients? I don't know. It's not my business. Like I said, I'm genuinely very busy. Okay. My time is really competitive. I don't have time to actually sit and scrutinize what other people are doing. So I genuinely don't know. And then how do I discern between the information? I'm assuming you mean, psychic information, practice, and then understanding the difference between like what's an intuitive hit and like what's my own ego. But that comes with just practice and just being in the game for a minute, honestly. And how do I combat clients that already come to you with that know everything? I don't take them. I don't combat them. I don't take them. See, one thing about this is that people, when you start getting your customers or your clients, because people are so happy that someone came to them, they feel that they must assist or that they must help. I'm not that kind of person. If you come to me thinking you know everything, as far as I'm concerned, and I have nothing to teach you, I will turn you away. I will refund your money. I have no issue refunding money. Some of you may have noticed that with me. If you like reached out for whatever, like a session or whatever, maybe I've had to reschedule or like whatever. The first thing I say to you is, would you like a refund? Like, I'm not that type of person that's going to hold you. I don't take them. So I don't combat them because I don't take them. However, what I will say is this is an energetic business, and like energy attracts like energy. I don't really attract people like that anymore. I think people kind of know that, like, well, for lack of a better phrase, not to try it, so they don't. But when I first started and I was new and I was kind of green and I was like a little vulnerable and heavily insecure, I would attract a lot of people like that who would come to just test me to see if I was good, and it would really throw me off. And so over the years, I've just gotten used to being able to spot them, and I don't take them. Can you talk about how to get started and when to know when you should quit your day job? I see all the signs that this is my purpose, but it's hard to know where to start. Guess I'm a little unclear. Thank you. So I would never give that advice. I would never tell somebody to quit their day job. I believe you can start a business alongside of whatever it is that you're already doing, but I would never say to someone to get rid of your primary source of income. I think that that's irresponsible. You can do both at the same time. I personally like having a day job and also being a mystic rain because it keeps balance in my life. I can't be too day job because then I become too matrix, and I can't be too mystic rain because then I forget that I live in a matrix. And even though we do a lot of work on trying to have an awareness of the matrix that we're in, and to have an awareness of the illusions that we are constantly participating in, because we have chosen to have this lifetime, part of that responsibility is participating in the matrix. For me, I do that by maintaining a day job. Not to mention, I have a really good day job. That's not a source of income that I would want to lose. Now, if you start your business and it grows to where it is a comfortable full-time income, and you are in a place where you're like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore, and you're not happy with your day job and what it is that you're doing, then like by all means, do what you got to do. If you feel like it means that you got to walk away, live your best life. But I would never recommend for anybody to quit their day job in order to only do a small business, regardless of what the small business is in. People that do small businesses understand that it works like this, right? Like, it's a wave, and that's how the money works too. So you'll have months where it's like, whoa, like I'm making money, right? And then like you'll have months where you're not making anything at all. And so because of that, it can feel unstable. And so if you have stability in your life, particularly in a pandemic, I wouldn't actually suggest that you get rid of that. I would suggest that you keep it and figure out a way to balance. Now, when I figure out what that balance is, I will share it with you, but I have yet to learn that lesson. So, okay, do you need to be well-versed in tarot, numerology, and astrology? Where should people go to learn from more repeated sources? So I would say, like, do you need to be well-versed in all of these things in order to start your own spiritual business? No. Just don't advertise what you don't know, right? Like, I don't advertise numerology, and no one has ever asked me to do it for them, right? Now, also, I will say, when you're dealing with like the general population, people don't know what tarot, numerology, and astrology is. And when they hear astrology, they hear of like a horoscope that you get out of a Cosmopolitan magazine, right? Like back when there were magazines, but they don't hear, like, they don't know what this stuff is in general. Like, nobody will ever come to you and say, hey, can you do my numerology? And then you will never be confronted with a situation where like, you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to do that. And someone asks you to do it for them. That'll never really be a thing. Mostly because people don't know. People come to you with what you know. And so if you're saying to someone like, hey, I know how to read tarot cards, then they're going to say, hey, can you read my cards? They'll never go to you and say, hey, can you read my birth chart? Like that doesn't actually happen. But I do understand that, like, when you're beginning, there's this need and this pressure to know all of it because you don't want to be called out for being like a fraud, right? Or being inauthentic. And so there's like this pressure that you have about learning everything and learning everything quickly. But the answer is no. I would just promote what I know. So like what you get from me is what I know how to do and what I feel that I know how to do well. But I'll give you like the secret. Even if you feel like you're in a place where you're still trying to get to a place where you can learn to do it well, nobody will really feel like you don't know how to do it well. If someone comes to you and they say, hey, I want to get a tarot card reading, people that read cards probably aren't really going to go for you for a reading unless it's like a psychic fair and they're there for fun, right? So most likely you're going to end up with someone that has no idea what they're looking at. And so they won't really have something to compare you to in terms of like how good you are or how much information you know. I can guarantee you though, 99% of the people that you come across, even if you feel like you don't know a lot, you will know more than they know. Because they wouldn't have come to you, right? If they knew, they wouldn't go to you at all. Like, I don't see other tarot readers, for example. I don't see other like astrologers or anything like that. Now I used to before I got a hang of it myself, but I don't do that anymore because I know how to do it. Plus, I'll scrutinize it too much. Like if I see you reading the cards a certain way and I disagree with it, right, then I can't receive the reading or what you're telling me. So, but you'll never attract someone like that. That's really not a situation that you would really come across. Okay, it's not quite business related, but what if people start coming to you for tarot readings? And at what point should you charge? I'm new at this and weak-willed, so it's always free. So this is business related. The moment money is involved, it's business related, okay? And I need to talk about this because so many of us feel like we gotta serve, right? That it should be free or that it should be cheap. And when I tell you that couldn't be farthest from the truth, the moment someone wants to pay you is the moment it's a business. At what point should you charge? The moment someone is willing to hand you money. The moment someone says to you, oh my gosh, you read cards, like how much do you charge, is the moment you charge. Here's the thing about Mystic Rain. One thing about me is that you're going to run me my money, okay? Like, I'm not like one of those spiritual people that are like, oh my God, for the greater good. And I used to be like that. And I had a problem. Like, I used to like work so hard, particularly in tarot readings. And I used to like just give them away. Right. And then when I did start charging, I was like super cheap, like $5. And I remember once when I had bumped my rate up to 20, I felt like a fraud. Like I felt like an animal. And what I realized is the clients you are there's a saying that you get what you pay for, right? If you don't charge for readings, you get cheap clients. You get free clients. And I hope that that resonates with some of you. Like a free client is exactly what it is. It's a free client. They act free, they speak free, and they treat you freely, right? A cheap client does the same thing. Like they treat you cheaply. So the more you raise your rates and where your balance is up to you, right? That is the caliber of clients that you attract. When you hit a certain rate range, you don't attract bullshit anymore. You don't, because people that are there to test you, that are there to mess with you, that are there to ruin your day, don't have money. When you are at a certain price point, they can't afford you. You price them out, right? So that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is that it's an energetic exchange. Money is just energy. It's a form of energy, right? When you are doing a reading for someone, you're giving out energy. So there should be an exchange. You should receive energy back. And the energy that you should receive back should be in alignment with the amount of energy that you're giving out, because there's a balance there. If you don't receive the same energy back, you will burn out. You will not want to do it. You will be like completely scared into a broom closet, because what's going to happen is that you're going to start attracting people who are mean, who are trolls, who didn't mean it in the first place, who think they know everything, who are only there to challenge you. And you would have come from a perspective where you were really genuinely trying to assist them, and you were genuinely trying to help them, and now they've spooked you and you don't want to do it anymore, right? And so this is really hard when you start coming out of the broom closet trying to figure out when you should charge, particularly if you're in a place where you feel like you don't know it or you don't have it down immediately like that. But you start to charge the moment someone is willing to hand you money. I don't care how much it is. If someone reaches into their pocket and all they have is a $5 bill and they're willing to give it to you, that is the moment you start charging. Period. Okay, so the next one is how to exude confidence and overcome fear. I feel really confident when I do tarot and oracle readings for myself or close friends, but extremely nervous to really get out there and do them professionally. This almost everyone experiences that. The reason for it is just because you don't have any evidence, right? Everything you're dealing with is intuitive. And so when you're sitting in front of a stranger and you're telling them all these things, you don't have anything to back up what it is that you've said. And in our world, we require evidence. Like the human brain likes evidence, things that it can see, things that are tangible, that it can touch. And when you're doing readings, there is nothing tangible, right? And so essentially what you have to do is get comfortable knowing that you're going to be uncomfortable. And professional readers are uncomfortable. You know, and I'll like let you in on like a trade secret. There was one time when I was doing a psychic fair, and there was about 15 of us readers there that day. And we all got there right in the morning and we're like setting up our tables or whatever. And I would say out of the 15 that was there, 14 of us were nervous. And all of us were professionals. We were all like, oh my God, like, why do I feel like this? I just feel so nervous. Like I have to perform, really? Because that's what it is. Like people sometimes come to you and they look at you like a circus act. You have to perform. And that's can be like it's like going on stage. Is a bit of stage fright. It happens to everyone. It's just part of the deal, right? I don't know if there's a point where you stop being nervous, or if it's really more so you just get used to that nervous feeling. And so it doesn't phase you anymore, but you just have to get comfortable in a place of just like not knowing. You have to get comfortable knowing that you're going to say things that you can't verify, that you may not be able to back up, that you won't have evidence for, and just be comfortable being like, whatever, I said what it is that I said. The best things for people in this space to do is to become really unapologetic, right? Because people are going to try to make you justify yourself. And I've learned over time that I'm not here to justify myself for you. I'm not here for you. I know for fact that I did not incarnate for you, like in all of your insecurities. Like, you just have to become a little bit more unapologetic and just be like, look, I said what I said. And it could be wrong, right? Because at the end of the day, you're human. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. You shrug it off and you keep on moving. It wouldn't be the first time you were wrong about something in life, right? But you're doing this because you're usually not wrong. People that are like professional psychics or professional readers are doing it because they are usually not wrong. There is an accuracy level. Nobody is 100%. But, if you know you're kind of on it, right, and your accuracy is in that 90% range, even if you were 80% accurate, to me, that's a lot. That's 8 out of 10. Like, that's a lot, right? And so the odds truly are actually in your favor, but you just kind of have to get comfortable knowing that you won't be comfortable. And none of us really are. What I do is I don't look at you in the eye. So if I'm reading for people in person, I focus completely down at the table and the cards. I don't look at you in the eye. And sometimes if things are coming out and the person's like really looking at me because they're like really engaged and they like really want to know what I'm doing, I'll read like this. I'll like shut my eyes and I'll be like, okay. And then I'll like keep talking and I'll keep going. And I'll do like a whole 30-minute session just sitting like this, talking to them with my eyes closed. Because if I look at you and your face does something weird, then I'll get like insecure, right? Or sometimes people will like make a confused face, like you said something and they're like trying to place it because it doesn't resonate yet. And that can throw you off because then you feel like you're wrong. And so I'll just do this. And like, this helps me sometimes just like not look at you. And if I'm like doing it on Zoom, I don't look at your face on the screen. I look at my face on the screen, Okay, and last question. How do you handle the hate, being called a fake and a scammer when you put your services out there? KM, beloved, I don't care. Like, run me my money. First of all, I will say this took a while for me to get to this place. But honestly, like, I'm really busy taking my money and shopping at the outlet. Like, I really couldn't care less what someone had to say. I'm not here for everybody, and that was like a real weight off my shoulder when I realized that I did not incarnate for everybody. I did not incarnate for you. I'm not here to make one particular person feel good within themselves. I have a larger mission. And if you feel like I'm a faker or a scammer, then that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, everybody has an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Your opinion is really none of my business. And I'm busy. Like, I don't actually have time to sit down and like care about it. But you will be called one. I'm not going to lie about that. People will call you fake. People will call you a scammer because people don't understand how it works. It's part of the territory, and you just have to accept that, right? This goes into kind of like not caring what people think, which is easier said than done. But if you come out publicly as a psychic, you're really going to have to reach a place where you own it. You just have to own it and be really unapologetic about it, right? That's why I say in every video, it's your resident internet psychic medium. Because what you are not going to do is be like, oh, this girl is crazy. No. I started the video saying that I was an internet psychic medium. That's how we started this, right? So you're not going to go to someone and be like, oh, she's crazy. No. You're crazy because you were watching an internet psychic medium. I just put it on you because I'm that kind of personality, right? But for some of my softer peeps, sweetie, you just got to get over it. Like, there is no way, all of us get it. All of us get it. It's part of the territory. It's part of the industry. They all get it. And you know what? The people that think you're a fake will still pay you. And so you have to figure out, how do you feel about that? Me? I just would like you to run me my money. Thank you. See, what people don't understand is that it's a business, right? Like, you have to look at it as a business. Yeah, this is what you do. yeah, you're being genuine because you do genuinely do these things and you are genuinely out there assisting people, right? But you have to like take this little thing of a mush that you've got in this chest called a heart and hold it over here, and then have a business and hold it over here, and realize that those two things are not the same thing, right? Like, you can use your gifts, if you want to call it that, for good, and still still run a business, like those things. Because at the end of the day, like, I can't do what I do if I'm not benefiting over here somehow. Like, I'm so busy that, like, if I wasn't benefiting, particularly with like money wise over here, I wouldn't do this. It's too much, right? And for a lot of you that start on this journey, you'll realize that there's so much energy that has to go out when you're doing anything spiritual that it is exhausting, right? And so you have to learn to separate the two. If there was no reward over here for me, I would not do this because I wouldn't have the energy reserves to do so. And so when you're dealing with it, you have to look at it as a business. You run it as a boss because that is what you are. You don't have to have a business where everybody else is dictating to you how your thing runs. You decide how you want this to run, and everybody else better fall in line, right? There is no exception there. There is no buts there. Like, it's your business. And when it's a spiritual business, it's linked to you. It's personal. Again, it's not like selling sunglasses or selling shoes where it's not personal. A spiritual business is personal, and people will make it that way. And it's hard when you are using your heart and you're there trying to assist people and they're being a jackass, right? It'll make you want to throw the whole thing in the garbage. It really will. And so you have to reach a point where your boundaries are ironclad and you're like, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not tolerating this behavior. You're not allowed to be my client because I expect better out of my client base. I expect better out of you. And like, I'm not going to tolerate this level of disrespect, right? And how you not tolerate it is up to you. It can come for a fee, okay? They can pay you if they want to be that disrespectful, which is also like an option I really enjoy, right? You can block them, right? But like, who enters that energetic barrier for you in regards to this? You are in control of how that works. Just like you are in control with the relationship that you have with spirit and how you work with spirit. It's all you, boo-boo, okay? It's all you. Who cares if someone thinks that you're a fake or a scammer? Run me my money, okay? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're prospering over here. You're doing the Lord's work over here. And if that person wants to be bitter and miserable and on the internet, then let them be bitter and miserable and on the internet. And if they are, and you have maybe a channel like I do, I just request that they leave a comment. Why? Because it's engagement and it helps with the algorithm and it puts me on a recommended page. So at the end of the day, your trolls are still your friends depending on your business model. Because you can actually make a little bit of money off of them. May only be like 2 cents, but hey, run me my money. You understand what I'm saying? So look, this video has gotten really long. I can like ramble all the way through. And like I said before, I thought it was going to be like more logistics. I'm like, how do I do this? What's the first step for that? But it really seemed to be more so around like confidence and like feeling secure enough to step into this space, and also feeling like, well, people want to hear you if you had something to say in this space, right? What I will say to that is that it's normal. It's a very normal experience. It's a very vulnerable experience, and because you feel exposed, right? There is nothing weirder than like going in public and saying, I'm a psychic. I see all things, dear. Oh, my crystal ball. Yes, darling, you will meet the one you love in 3 months, darling. Just bring me a pig's foot. Yeah? Like, there's like, it just gets weird, okay? You have to just be cool with it being a little weird, and it's like, have fun with it, you know what I mean? Like, you can learn to just shrug it off, right? It's weird, I get it, because a lot of you have to come out of the broom closet, and I respect that, okay? But honestly, just get comfortable knowing that you're going to be a little uncomfortable, all right? Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. It went a little long. But as always, before I let you go, make sure you check out the links in the description box below, and I will see you all soon.